Denise?
No, I just entered the lesson.
Oh, okay. So I want you to tell me the reasons. So why do students learn English? You can write it in the chat for me. What reasons can you come up with? What are the reasons? Look in the chat.
To find if the students have a motivation to learn. If I choose the second one, I think maybe can be.
Okay, so you think that, okay, you don't agree with Evelyn.
Actually, I agree. Just I think maybe we as a teacher to know why students are learning, to find if they have a motivation or they have I don't know.
That's a further. Why do we need to know? Why do we need
Yeah.
to know their needs? Yes, so we need to know their motivation, right? How motivated they are, right?
Yes.
So, but we know that students learn English for different purposes. So what are the different purposes? What are the different reasons, right? Can you please type at least some examples? Okay, let me give you an example. I have students who are learning English because they have a business and they have to communicate with their business partners in English. So the purpose is for business. Does it make sense? So obviously what will be their need, right? They need
Maybe they want to travel or something like
maybe
that.
travel. Another, yes, they want to travel around the world, so they don't want to get into troubles. They
Or maybe they want to learn another yourself.
okay, that's interesting.
Improvement.
Yeah, somebody just likes learning languages because it helps to learn culture and the other things and get another personality, right? We say as many languages you speak, there's so many personalities you have. Can be, okay. To get a better job, better opportunities, or migrate. Yes, if you want to go to another country and live there, obviously they might give you a requirement to learn. So that will be the need. What actually would be the purpose? If I am the immigrant, do I really need to know the formal language, like writing formal letters, business negotiation, vocabulary, phrases? Do I really need this? Obviously, that's not what you need to teach me. I'm not interested in that. That will be my need. I need to learn only something that will be required by that country for me as an immigrant to speak, to know, right? Maybe how to get around, maybe how to ask some things about documents, and so on, right? If I want to travel, probably I would teach students how to give directions. That will be the need, right? If you know the reason why they learn, obviously you can know their needs, what they really need the English for, okay? So maybe it's not so important if they are not becoming English teachers. Maybe some slight mistakes are not a big problem. If they say instead of he goes, he go, it's not a big deal, right? But if they are preparing for the IELTS certification for the university, well, here that might be already a problem. So you will need to find a way how to help them deal with the grammar points, what skills they need to learn, because in IELTS you need to develop your listening, speaking, writing skills. So you will have a different purpose, right? So that's how the needs and reasons related, right? Okay, I'm not sharing screen, right? You don't see the...
Teacher, so the correct one is the first?
No,
The necessities to have day by day?
no, of course not. What is the necessity the day by day? I can refer here. Is it complete answer? Is it because I need to get food? Do I study?
No.
No. This is my need. It's my necessity. I need to eat something. So do I need to learn language because this is my need? That's why I learn? No.
Yes.
So obviously, it's the reason why students are learning language, not necessities, right? We might have different necessities. Even maybe it's kind of closer to number two, but it's not complete, right? It's not completely right because we have different necessities for learning a language, needs, why I learn, but necessities, it's a very broad. So this is not complete answer, but very specific answer and clear answer is the reasons why students are learning a language. These what the students' needs are. If you are at school, okay, if you have junior high school students, what are their needs? To pass the exam, because this is a requirement of school. Maybe they have other needs, but that comes to another reason where we will talk about motivation and interests, right? So, but anyway, what do you have here in the number 2? Write at least 5 students' interests. So what can be their interests, right? So they, let's say, let's take an example, junior high school students, they learn language because they need to pass the exam and this is the grade. The parents are pressuring, like give a pressure, and well, they need to bring good grades, right? They don't want to be punished. Okay, but what are the interests might be according to like that are important for teachers to know to make them interested to learn? Who can give
They want to visit a foreign country that
okay.
speaks English.
Yeah, okay. So when we talk about the interests, we might know that students like traveling. Their dream is to travel abroad. Their interest, right? That's something that they really want. And maybe it's not that's why they are learning language. Maybe that's not the reason. They might say, I want to go to France. I don't need English, right? And they might hate English, but their interest is traveling. So this is one of the interests that you can use as a key for motivate them to learn English. Find the reasons, cultural reasons, different reasons to motivate them because they want to travel. Look for topics that involve traveling. Okay, what other examples, Arlex?
Well, I wrote, okay, let me see what I wrote. I wrote your favorite subject, values, and
Yeah,
your previous knowledge.
subject. Yeah, my favorite subject is history. So if you are teaching me something in English related to history, right, it might be very interesting for me. Yeah, subject. Okay, sorry, I interrupted you. You said subject, what else?
Don't worry. Favorite subject and their previous knowledge that they might want to share with others.
Maybe their stories, something what happened in their lives, right? So maybe they went to Disneyland and they really want to share it. So because we love traveling, could be like something about their lives, what they have done. Okay, could be. What other ideas, Amairani?
Interest in other cultures, maybe.
Sure, yeah, interesting. Okay, what else, Gloria?
I think it would be useful to know their hobbies as well, what they like to do in their free time.
Of course, music, food, anything that they like. What kind of food, music, movies, color, all the things that you know about would be really helpful because this is the tool you will use to catch their attention. Okay. Even though they are there because of the grade. So here it comes, motivation. So we need to understand that there are 2 types of motivation and we need to be very careful with these students. So who are the students that have extrinsic motivation? How can you explain it with your own words? Let me see. I think Fernando Zepeda, is it Fernando? Your name's Fernando Zepeda, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember your name. Okay. So what did you think, Fernando? What is intrinsic motivation? I have answers for you, right? You have it. It's students do the activities because they want to get a good grade or avoid punishment. What are the examples you can think of the students who have extrinsic motivation?
Well, basing on the example of there, I think that maybe to get a good grade, they would do something that is not okay to get that. It could be.
I don't really understand what you mean with the good grade, but not okay.
For example, if I cheat on an exam,
Mhm.
I will get a good grade, but my action is not.
Yeah, but that's already a different topic. It's already academic honesty.
Okay.
So in what situation, how can you recognize this extrinsic motivation? How can you recognize that student has this type of motivation? Arlen.
I could give an example that it's not like extremely related to the English teaching, but for example, if there is a student and for example is extrinsic motivated, he will get a good grade because he wants to get like he wants to be recognized or maybe want to win a trophy or something like that. And the intrinsic motivated student will do it because he do it for himself or herself, that feels great about doing that action or doing that, maybe a sport or maybe being good in a subject, because they enjoy maybe the class or maybe they enjoy getting good grades, not to be recognized or the first in class only because they like to like pay attention.
Okay, yes. So that's exactly right. Not that's what you said about intrinsic. Intrinsic because I enjoy. I don't care what a grade I get, but I just love it. Okay, but would it be helpful if I get good grades? Obviously, right? If my activities are challenging, yes, of course. But what about extrinsic motivation? It's not necessary that I do it because I want to get grade. I do study English and I get bad grades, but I do it because I don't want to be punished. So I study English and I fail. Okay, but why do I study English? Because my motivation is intrinsic motivation. I do it because my parents want me to study. I don't want to go to private school, but I do it in order to avoid punishment, right? Because my parents promised me something. So I do it because they will give me something. Extrinsic motivation can be because I need to pass the IELTS exam. So I study, I maybe register for the course of IELTS. This will be intrinsic. I got a promotion and my boss said, if I speak English, I will keep the promotion. I will get a high position. But if I don't speak English, I can't. So that will be another extrinsic motivation because I need, right, to get this position. So I study English, okay? In the intrinsic motivation, because you love singing, you love reading in English, you love talking, you speaking in English, and it's all because you enjoy doing it, right? That will be a different type of motivation. And you need to be very careful with these students because those needs and interests can help you to increase their motivation. And sometimes intrinsic motivation changes and becomes intrinsic, okay? And obviously it can happen with the help of a teacher, okay? Or vice versa, right? If somebody loved English and then because of the teacher they start, or because of some events, activities, challenges, failings, and the teacher didn't recognize those interests, those motivation types of motivation, well, students might lose this interest, this motivation, and it becomes just intrinsic. They just take it because it's a high school and they have to just have a grade, and they don't, the motivation can change, okay? So on the next one, what EFL teachers need to know to help create positive conditions for learning? Write at least several questions. That's what I ask you to do. Okay, let me see. You haven't submitted your answers yet, right? Okay, so anybody who can tell me some questions that you were able to come up with? Let's see, Nicole didn't participate yet. Nicole, what do you have? Can Nicole hear me? Nicole, I can't hear you. Nicole Renteria. Okay. Yamile?
Yes, I wrote, what is something you value?
Okay, what's something that you value? Okay, more questions? Evelyn, Baron, Evelyn?
Yes, I'm here.
What question do you have?
Question.
Mhm.
Um,
Did you write anything?
in the second one, in right at this five students interested.
Okay, I'm going to repeat. Write at least, sorry, that was after. What if teachers need to know to help create positive conditions for learning? You had to write some questions.
I didn't write anything. I didn't have the time to write
For
something.
example, it doesn't really matter for you if I call you Evelyn or Lena. Is it important?
Lynn. Well, if you want to, you can call me Lynn.
Or if I tell you Uriarte, what do you prefer?
Well, I'm Evelyn Barron, so
Oh, sorry.
you can call me as you want.
As
I
you,
don't care.
what do you prefer? Is there anything that you prefer?
I have a nickname. You can call me by my nickname. Everyone calls me like this. It's Umaru.
Umaru. Okay.
Umaru.
Umaru. Okay. So, will you feel more comfortable if I call you Umaru?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. So that's another question, right? How would your students prefer to be called? Is it important? Will it make you feel better if I call you the way you like it? Right? My name, complete name is Vitlana, but nobody can pronounce my name. I hate how people mispronounce my name. I feel really bad about it because my name is my favorite name and it's beautiful name in Ukrainian. So unfortunately, everybody just have to call me Lana, and it's not even name in Ukrainian. It doesn't exist. So it's just the last part of my name, but I prefer everybody calls me Lana. Okay, so that makes me feel more comfortable. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what other Nicole is here, but what happened to your microphone, Nicole? Can you speak?
Teacher, I think I have one question.
You don't have any question, Nicole? Okay.
No, I'm Valeria. I said that I want to participate.
Go ahead. Yes, of course.
Maybe one question can be, what's the way my students learn?
Yeah. Okay. What do you like more? Do you like classes when I show videos? Do you like when I explain? Do you like when I give you and you find out everything by yourself with your classmates? Do you like to work individually or with a partner? All of this, how you learn, what do you prefer, would be really a good way to create a positive condition for your learning, right? For your students' learning. Okay, anybody else who would like to add other questions? You can have your microphone on. You can just write it down in the chat so the rest of the students can hear and have some other ideas. Okay, so we almost finished. So let's just look at the activity that actually is very helpful for teachers to create, again, positive atmosphere in your classroom. And I hope you have selected icebreaker. Is there anybody who has never heard of this activity? No? Everybody knows what icebreaker is? That's good. That's good.
I don't know, teacher.
You don't know. Okay. Anybody who would like to try to explain what icebreaker is? Maybe example?
Is I'm not sure, but is when you ask question to, for example, a partner to for they to talk to you and learn a little bit more about them,
Each other.
like trivial things.
Okay, yeah. Work in teams and ask but personal questions, right? So
To know each other, something like that.
yes, know each other. Another example, very good. So actually you have here the definition. Their icebreaker, warm up, leading. What's going on with my, it's moving. So you have the answers. Have you selected this way? The first one is the activity icebreaker, where you use usually the beginning of the course or maybe coming back from vacation. So this is to learn more about each other. They are more personal questions about likes, dislikes, their knowledge, their things that they have done. So there are no correct or wrong answers because this is all about their personal life. Okay, so this is about to get a friendly atmosphere. For example, remember I asked you to create a video for me at the beginning of the critical thinking skills. So this for me was very helpful to see how creative you are, what you like, what things you don't like, and even your partners were able to watch those videos. So this is one of the icebreaker, even though it was not a dynamic or interactive activity, but still that was an activity and an icebreaker activity to know more about each other. Okay, what happens with the warm-up? So don't confuse warm-up and icebreaker. Warm-up is just an activity to energize your students. It can be a quick game. It can be something that's interesting, something that they really enjoy doing, okay? It would be great if it is related to the lesson topic, but if it is not, sometimes these kind of games are not very related to the lesson topic. But what happens with the lead-in? This is actually where you interact with students and catch their interest to the topic, right? Topic of the lesson. So here it's all about the topic of the lesson, even though they can provide their opinions about this, right? So it's not to get to know them, but it's to get them involved, even using their previous knowledge, their likes, dislikes, but related to the topic. So all of these activities actually help a lot to learn more about students, but obviously icebreaker is one of the most helpful because they are about personal. Well, and cool down, I just added for you to know that this activity also exists and it benefits also for students learning. Just to wrap up everything at the end, it can be also as a relaxing activity or energizing activity at the end of the class. Okay, so do you have any other questions about the difference between these activities? The one thing that I would like to let you know that sometimes teachers start their classes just with a lead-in. It depends on the time, right? But it would be great if you start with a warm-up. Don't confuse warm-up with the lead-in. Okay, there are two different things, even though they are kind of sound similar. Icebreaker are usually used at the beginning of the course instead of warm-ups. Obviously, you will not have time for icebreaker and warm-up and then lead-in, and not always we have time for cool down. But if you do and you plan appropriately time, you might have for at least warm-up, lead-in, and cool down activity. Okay, or icebreaker, lead-in, and cool down activity. Obviously, between that, we still have other stages that you probably can learn if you search for the formats, right? Lesson plan formats. There are different lesson plan formats. And the last question to finish, why do you need to know your learners before you start teaching them? Why is it important?
I wrote that to create a learning environment and motivation based on the interests of the students, as well as their ways of learning, to know what their weakness and difficult, and to be able to act to find a solution.
Successful learning, right? For successful learning. Yes, you need to know them in order to provide a successful learning, a positive environment, and a preliminary information about students is crucial, right? You cannot just start planning a lesson without knowing what students are. At least some things that you might know is the level first, their age, right? You already analyze, right? Their possible likes and dislikes. And with the time you learn more about and you engage them more to the lesson. Okay, so just before, do you have any questions or something that you would like to add? No? Nobody? Okay, so just let me quickly show you. Oh, where is it? Forum and assessment plan. Yes, do you have a question? I don't see my chat. Okay, no questions. Okay, so then here we go. What you're going to do is you are going to think of one student, okay? You can select a person that is learning English. That is very important, the person who is learning English. You can think maybe also about your cousin, right? Someone who's learning English. If you are not teaching right now, if you have never had a group of students or you have never taught, think of one. Obviously, in this case, you will need to personally interview that person, have different talks. Maybe if you want to have some activities with them, speak in English, and in order to find out what, right, their interests are, needs, lifestyle, learning styles, and to complete the form. So here you have the learner profile. It is an article that you can find in the task 4, right? And this is an example, right? But you can also find there the checklist. What is very important for you to have in the preliminary information, the profile, let's say, right? Learner profile. So, well, you will need to complete it. It is very important that you write in prose, okay? And how many? It should not be more than 700 words. It cannot be. Okay, so you need to try to reduce it, as if you get to 1,000 or more, it will be too much. 500, 700 word long should be enough way to write a profile. Okay, so here is the step 2 checklist is also in the task 4. So use this checklist to evaluate your learner's profile so you do not miss any points, okay, before you deliver it. And obviously when you deliver, you submit cover page and the learner profile. Remember, you need to provide the name of the student. It's not necessarily to have the complete name, at least one name, or you can, if it's a child, let's say, right? If there is ethical issue about the name, well, then you can provide an maybe inventory name, but I don't think it should be a problem, okay? So any questions so far about assessment plan? No? So just would like to let you know, if there are no questions, that next week we will have a session, but our session will be mostly based on the final task. So by maybe the end of the next week, you already will have all your grades. So we will see who got 40 points or more than 40 points and can do the end of task. If you do not get 40 points obviously you cannot pass this course. You will need to retake it next year. There is no makeup exam, so it's just have to be retaken. But most of you did a great job, so you already, most of you have 40 points. And what else I wanted to say? And that's what we're going to do next week. We're going to talk about more like details, what you need to write for in your end of course task. Okay. And we still have the forum participation. That will be the last next week. And that's it. Okay. So any questions, any doubts about this unit, some things that you wanted to clarify? No? All clear? Perfect. Okay, so then we finished. Okay, so then I will see you next week. You're welcome. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
teacher.
teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.